Welcome to the land of the billionaires. Hong Kong now has the highest concentration of ultra-rich people of any city in the world, just overtook New York. But not everyone has won out of this. So that is what we're here to find out. Why is there so much wealth being attracted to the city? But more importantly, what does it mean for everyone else that lives here?
Let's do something that's like a bit different
Okay.
from
Last time?
last time. Because last time the background was kind of blurred out, right?
Yeah.
Like the focus was on the person.
I think this place, just here.
Just here.
This is Mabel Law, Instagram influencer, temporary traffic obstruction, and heir to her family fortune.
Do we have it?
Hey,
Hi,
nice
Mark.
to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, I'm Mark.
Welcome here.
And
Michael?
Michael, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Forgive me, is this all for social media?
Yeah, it is.
Oh my God, you two,
For Instagram.
you put more effort into your social media than anyone else I know.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's a compliment. It's definitely a compliment.
For the gram.
Mabel is one of Hong Kong's rich kids, and she has no problem flaunting her lifestyle. In fact, she gets paid to flaunt it by luxury brands trying to sell that crazy rich image. Do you think that it's possible that part of the appeal of your Instagram to brands is the fact that there is an affluent quality to it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it also reflects on the brands that want to collaborate with me. They're usually like higher end lifestyle brands. So I think like my sort of lifestyle sort of fits the type of person that they want.
In the Hong Kong culture that you grew up in, how much do status and wealth actually matter?
I have a lot of friends who are lawyers and doctors, not because they genuinely enjoy doing it. I mean, I'm sure some people do enjoy doing it, but a lot of people are doing it just because of the money that comes with the job.
Mabel and her friends are living a life of comparative wealth and status that's not unlike the one you would see in the movie Crazy Rich Asians. You said your dad had a few cars. Like, what's his taste? What's he into?
He actually has an Audi sports car, and this car is more practical because my mom likes to drive her friends around.
Yep.
And there's also one car where my dad uses to travel to China, but usually my driver, he drives that car. And then we have the Benz, which my dad drives to work by himself.
Owning multiple cars is normal when you live here in Repulse Bay, home to some of the most expensive real estate in the world. An average 3-bedroom apartment can cost a cool 10 million Australian dollars.
Hi, Lourdes.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Okay.
So this is my helper, Lourdes. She's been working with us for, I think, more
10
than
years.
10 years already. Yeah. So,
Beautiful place.
thank you.
Like lots of new money families in Hong Kong, Mabel's family emigrated from mainland China.
This is my room.
Her dad is a big player in the textile industry, but she's hesitant to tell me exactly how much he's worth. So if I was to ask you if you had one purchase obsession, what would it be?
Can I have two?
Yes, yes, you can have two.
Handbags and shoes.
Handbag. How big is your handbag collection then?
I don't even have enough space to put them all.
Wow. Wait, so that's not even the full collection?
No, because I still have more over here. But they're just like all over my room because I buy so many handbags all the time. These are like my winter jackets.
Oh wow.
Yes.
In fairness to Mabel, she may be super rich, but she is also super humble. You see that bag over there? That's worth $17,000. Why is this place so attractive to the wealthy?
I think it's because the barriers to do business here is relatively lower than other places. But I feel like there is a very wide wealth gap in Hong Kong. The government has always been criticized for implementing policies that are favoring the rich instead of helping the poor. And I feel like we obviously have more financial capacity to be able to help these people. So I wish more can be done about this.
Extraordinarily low taxes, no GST and minuscule corporate tax have helped make Hong Kong the freest economy in the world.
So if the government aren't getting all their money from tax, where is the cash coming from? Well, it turns out a big part of the answer to that question is land. You see, while Hong Kong has become home of the ultra-rich, it's also become the world's least affordable housing market. Hong Kong is just a little bit smaller than Hobart, and there are 7.5 million people living here. Now, you might assume that real estate is so expensive because of land scarcity, but from above, you can see there's plenty of green space. That's because 70% of this land is not being used. In fact, only 7% of the city is zoned for housing. But here's the catch. Every inch of land here is owned by the Hong Kong government, and they make big money by leasing it to property developers who in turn charge huge rents, sometimes for the smallest of spaces. So this is an apartment that is for rent at the moment. It's 2-ish rooms, about 46 square metres, including the balcony. For this, you can expect to pay the equivalent of $1,000 a week Australian. But it's when you look at buying that things get mental. There are apartments like this that are going for $2 million Australian. And the worst part, you have to put down a 50% deposit.
A lot of our younger generation, they are really frustrated with the housing problem.
This is Nathan Law. At 23, he was the youngest person to ever be elected to Hong Kong's parliament. He's the voice of the city's increasingly frustrated youth.
If you're coming out from a wealthy family, then you have no expectation or no hope of purchasing your own house.
Like many people, Nathan believes Hong Kong's problems stem from its nearest neighbour.
You can see that a lot of our housing are being bought by the Chinese money, and they're not being used as a residential need, but for them to getting their money out. They don't really care about the livelihood issues in Hong Kong.
What's the effect that has on the mood of young people in this city?
Other than the most unaffordable city in the world, Hong Kong has a lot of top ranking. For example, top working hours, the least joyful city, and one of the least hopeful cities.
According to a recent survey, young people in Hong Kong are the unhappiest they've been in a decade. In fact, 60% of 18 to 29-year-olds are looking to pack up and leave Hong Kong for good.
A lot of my friends and a lot of younger generation, they don't want to have their child because they don't have room to raise them. It's just like torturing the next generation.
Hong Kong has one of the lowest birth rates in the world, and this housing problem, it's related.
There's a social component to
Yeah.
young people being able to have their own place, isn't there?
Well, definitely. Like, for example, if you want to have like a sort of intimate behavior with your partner, then you have no room to do so, and you're very embarrassed when your parents are at home and you can't do it. So it's devastating.
So the young people of Hong Kong have nowhere to hook up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Young people like these university students who are tonight helping out at this soup kitchen. People like Francis.
Do you feel like you have enough space?
I need to share my room with my sister, so I think I want to have more personal space, to be honest. But it's hard because we just have 3 rooms in my house, so my parents and my grandparents, and then it's me and my sister.
Tonight, these students are delivering food to those most affected by the housing crisis.
So if there is this ongoing problem with housing and not enough spaces, and everyone knows it, what's the mood like here? How do people feel about it?
For the young generation, we feel so angry about it. We need to live, and then we also need to have a safe place for us to maintain our life. But the government is just focused on how to earn money in the maximum profit.
Whilst living with family is necessary for many people in this city, some don't have that luxury.
Can I make an observation? Overwhelmingly, the people here are old. Yeah. Why is that?
Most of them are just live by their own, so they won't cook, and then their daughter or their son will not take care of them.
All of this forces you to wonder what happens to these people. With no one to look after them, where do they live?
Right now, Hong Kong is projecting an image to the rest of the world, and it's an image of extreme wealth and glamour. But then you hit a place like this. This is Sham Shui Po, where a quarter of the population live below the poverty line.
In a restaurant at the heart of Sham Shui Po, I meet Auntie Ha, an elderly victim of the city's housing crisis.
今年啊，我係44年春出世嘅，我75周歲都嚟嘅啦，計黃昏㗎啦。
She's taking me to see a subdivided flat. Now, this is the only kind of housing that she can afford.
8年啦，差唔多8週年㗎啦，8個房間就8戶人。其中一個冇住，因為。
In Hong Kong, 30% of the population live in public housing. But with a 5-year wait list, a lot of people, like Auntie Ha, are being forced to reside in dangerous and often illegal living conditions like this.
有時夜晚啊睇到嗰啲老師咁啊走嚟走去啊，佢夜晚有時下邊叫啊猛叫，或者喺呢度入邊呢頭咧，就用呢啲嘢打佢夜晚咯，講佢走夜晚。
Auntie Ha pays around 300 Aussie dollars per month for this place. That's roughly a third of her monthly government pension.
呢啲都係水嘅，遮住啦嘛，水位嗰啲嗱。 呢度濕㗎嘛，嗱，依家都濕㗎嘛，呢度流水㗎嘛，呢度就係流水嘅位置咯，都係流嘅，總之都係流嘅，呢都係流嘅，嗰啲位置都係流。房東唔會整㗎啦，因為呢度係僭建嚟嘅，佢冇可能幫你整呢啲嘢，我亦唔敢要求㗎啦。
Do you think it's fair that you have to live like this?
係對我嚟講就唔公平，我個家庭嚟講就唔公平。
How would you feel if you could never get into public housing?
好無奈咯，都係要搬啊，唔知搬喺邊度而家。
You agreed to talk to us, to show us inside your house. Why is it important that people know about this?
希望政府咧能夠改善下低下層嗰啲人嘅生活咯，起碼都應該有個最基本嘅生活，覺得呢啲係好需要嘅。
I'm frankly amazed at Auntie Ha's resilience and ingenuity. But the truth is, she has really limited options.
Everything about this city, it's like it wants you to be rich. It's willing you to be rich, all the tax stuff. But if you're not, like her, in a sense, it's like the city doesn't quite know what to do with you.
In Hong Kong, the richest earn 44 times more than the poorest, and that gap is widening. But there are some who believe that the cycle of poverty, that it can be broken, and they're using their wealth to break it.
Hi, I'm Mark.
Oh.
You Dr. Z?
Hi, how do you do?
Nice to meet you. This is a beautiful, beautiful store.
Dr. Z's family have been selling jewels to Hong Kong's richest for the last century, and it's made his family very rich.
And your dad started the company?
He started with a friend though, with a friend in Shanghai.
And then he came out to Hong Kong and
Yes.
did he start from scratch?
Not exactly. 2 baskets. 2 baskets full of jewelry.
So from 2 suitcases
Yeah.
comes this.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can't quit, man. This one is almost identical to what Michelle Yeoh wear in the movie.
What she wears in Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah.
Amazing.
You know, we have some men jewelry too.
Really?
I really feel men was a little ignored in this business. And the ladies wear all the jewelry.
We should share it up a bit.
Dr. Z may be the heir to a jewellery empire, but he also has a PhD from Harvard University. And he's funnelled some of his fortune into a project called The Hub. It's an organisation to help underprivileged kids get an education.
The world will not be stable when you have too many poor people versus the rich people. That's my belief. And the gap is not closing, it's widening. And actually worry me.
Why do you think it's important that people that have wealth, they invest it back in underprivileged areas? Do you think it's a responsibility for...
Yeah.
Expand on that a bit.
Almost an obligation.
Almost an obligation?
Obligation.
Why is it an obligation?
Because well-educated people you have a much higher chance to be successful.
Shall we go?
Dr. Z wants to take me to see The Hub, but the only way to get there, he says,
Wow.
is by Ferrari.
I go in here.
Oh. How many Ferraris do you have?
Only two.
Only two. All right. Let's go for a drive.
Clear. Clear.
Clear, yeah. Yeah, there we go. All right. It strikes me that money and status matters a lot here in Hong Kong.
In Hong Kong, yeah.
Why?
Most of my friends, the conversation focus on money. How to make money, which stocks or which apartment is appreciated. Yes.
It's strange to think that we are in the same city as Auntie Ha.
Now there's also a very exclusive golf club, okay, on your left.
Yeah.
How much are the membership selling for?
$1 million.
Low.
That's low.
Yeah.
4 million. So
35 mil. 35 million.
$35 million for a golf club membership?
That's 6 million Australian dollars.
35 million Hong Kong dollar.
What the? That's insane.
After safely stashing the Ferrari, Dr. Z and I head into The Hub.
And I see so many beautiful kids. Yeah, everyone looks very happy.
Yeah.
In Hong Kong, 1 in 5 kids live below the poverty line. A lack of adequate housing means that this often is the only place these kids can study or play.
No.
And Cherry is one of those kids.
你今年幾多歲
9歲。
？9歲。哇！你好高喎，9歲啊！我細個嗰啲都係叫非常幾唔同嘅 ，very different。
Yeah.
死咗出晒
咁低㗎嘛？
係啊，全部咁。
唔好意思。
As Dr. Z learns the ins and outs of modern chess, he's also getting a glimpse of his investment in Hong Kong's future.
I think that my investment should have worked. I'm very happy. Yeah. It's really it's an opportunity for me to interact. Everyone's full of hope. It's a long path ahead of them.
The Hub is a lifeline to many of these kids. It offers not only the chance of a better life, but also just the prospect of being a kid. But for Cherry, the importance of education is abundantly clear.
因為如果你唔讀書，就好似街邊嗰啲乞兒咁樣乞食咯。
We're off to Cherry's favourite place.
Hello. 我哋而家放學啦，我哋就上公園睇書啦。你識唔識同佢講英文啊？ 頭先話咧，我話如果讀書讀叻啲，你咪知佢講咩咯，跟住讀書係咪？
Cherry and her mum spend as much time out of their crowded apartment as possible.
Just describe for me what your house looks like at the moment. What's the size of it?
兩個仔咧就住一間房，其他廳嗰方面咧就係我同我老公啦，同埋個女啦，三個會喺廳嗰度開床收床咁樣咯，咁間就可以有地方俾你去坐啊、去瞓啊咁咯，就真係好細，比
Hong Kong has the highest number of ultra-rich people in the world, and I'm wondering, do you think that money is fairly divided?
咁如果冇嗰啲，你咪自己努力讀書咯。小朋友就會都係咁講，有知識就會有財富咯。同埋真係讀多啲書會好啲嘅。如果你一竅不通嘅，讀書讀唔成嘅，可能係勞力咯。我覺得用腦好過勞力，佢會適合佢啲咯。
But for Cherry, there's an added pressure to succeed.
因為而家爸爸媽媽養我哋，第時爸爸媽媽老咗，我哋大咗就可以賺多啲錢養返佢哋咯。
But what about improving the welfare safety net for the ageing population? The government has just raised the qualifying age for elderly benefits from 60 to 65, forcing people to work for longer. Many elderly are resorting to selling cardboard on the streets to make ends meet.
If you didn't collect all the cardboard, could you live?
得個少少，今日唔夠咪揾嚟彌補咯，係咪？佢又有頭家，又唔係揾得多。咁咪仔又響仔，仔響仔，總之硬係冇人響老母嘅，老母係自己揾。
When you hear that Hong Kong has the highest concentration of billionaires, how do you feel about that?
生成係世界上係有窮有貧啊嘛，咪點成世界啊？係咪？咁人哋有嘅，你唔可以恨人，又唔可以憎人，啊？自己冇咪冇咯，冇咪冇，心東心底。
The government does spend $92 billion a year on welfare, but the high cost of living is keeping Hong Kong's most vulnerable on the streets and without enough support. The question is, will Hong Kong's crazy rich price tag continue to come at the expense of the poor? But Cherry, she's optimistic about the future here.
香港嗰啲人，有啲人好有愛心，會幫助有需要嘅人。嗰啲有錢人可以分享俾啲窮人，就可以一齊繼續，就可以一齊繼續做嘢賺多啲錢咯，繼續。